What is perpetuity? First, let us know this. This is an annuity which you have studied in class 11 syllabus that provides consistent payments indefinitely without an end date. So it is a continuous process. Perpetuity is continued for infinite time frame. If it starts today in a fixed time of a year, then every year it will happen at the same time. Normally, we calculate it when it is based on the payment is being done in the beginning of financial year or at the end of financial year. And a very important term is there, present value calculation. Investors, I told you, this has real life application. They can calculate the present value of a perpetuity to determine its current worth based on future payments. So present value is a very important term. How much it worth today, the payment you are going to do, that calculation is very important to take the important decision. You will make payment serially. Just in the beginning of year, if you do, you will do in the beginning of year, every year. But how much amount you realize now, that is known as present value. Perpetuity and annuity, what's the difference? Annuity also periodic payment was there, but perpetuity, what way it differs from annuity? Is it another kind of annuity? While infinite number of payments will be there, payments will never be stopped. So let us know all these things. That perpetuities are financial instruments that provides cash flow indefinitely without an end date, making them valuable for long-term income. Annuity is what? Which you have already done in class 11 course. These are financial products that provide a series of payments over a fixed period, often used for retirement planning. So if I am going to retire, say after 5 years, I have planned for that. Financial planning is very important in life. So annuity, some amount has to be paid to LIC, that Jivan Bima, all those policies are there, or some other financial organization to get some lump sum amount or interest when the term is covered. But perpetuity is not that. Financial instruments that provide cash flows indefinitely without an end date, making them valuable for long-term income. So these two things, the key difference also, primary difference between annuity and perpetuity is their duration. Annuity have a set time frame, while perpetuities do not. It continues forever. So for MCQ questions, because annuity you have done, perpetuity is going to be another kind of annuity, this matters. Understanding of the topic is the most important. Formula for immediate perpetuity, we will not derive anything. Please remember that this class is not for derivation. This class is just to know perpetuity, to know the concept of sinking fund, and apply the concept of these two topics to solve problems which are normally asked for your board examinations. I will not take any extra time for your examinations. Just stay with me till the end of this session so that you will come to know what kind of questions you have to practice. Okay? So formula for immediate perpetuity I am going to tell you. That amount of perpetuity when it is payable at the end of each period, that we'll know. Immediate perpetuity is what? It involves cash flows that begin immediately and continue indefinitely at irregular intervals. Okay? So, the present value, when you are going to calculate for the perpetuity, which is payable at the end of each period, the first payment being due one period, I mean at the end of the period, is going to be what? That is going to be P equal to R by I. Current worth of future cash flows, whatever amount you are going to pay in the future years, what is current value, that is calculated here, present value. Okay? So present value PV is defined as R by I. What R stands for? R stands for the amount you are going to pay end of the period. Every period at the end you are going to pay, that stands for R. How much amount you will pay for that, that is R, and I is the interest rate. This interest rate you have to pay attention. Whether you are paying annually, this is period, no? You may pay at the end of each quarter, means after 3 months. Then interest is given for the year. You have to get its value for 3 months and then continue. Okay? We'll be solving problems based on it. And then perpetuity due is what? This refers to cash flows received at the beginning. Due means in the beginning. Due means I have to pay in the beginning. From previous year I am thinking, next financial year going to start, if it is perpetuity due, I have to do it in the beginning. So due means in the beginning. Impact on present value, I have seen that MCQ questions they are asking. Based on this, what is impact on the present value? It means the previous one which you were doing, that when you are paying at the end of each year and at the end of every, not year, every period, and here in the beginning. So what is the impact on present value? It will be more in the previous case or more in this case? This due is higher. Why? Annuity perpetuity due has present value which is higher than that when you pay at the end. Because you are paying in the beginning for the whole year, the interest is being counted. So present value perpetuity due is higher than that of an immediate perpetuity due to earlier cash flow received. This is a very good question in MCQ. In my academic institutions, I have asked questions before. Every year, almost in one of the term, I ask this question. Which one will be more? So impact on present value. That present value will be higher in case of perpetuity due in compared to that of immediate perpetuity. Understood? Now, the formula for this, where you are paying in the beginning, where payment is being done in the beginning of every payment period, is P equal to R plus R1 I. R is the size of each payment, I is the rate per period, calculates the value of cash flow that starts immediately in the beginning of year. Okay? So I hope you have understood the formula. Here is R plus R by I. In the previous case, it was only R by I. Now we are going to discuss some problems based on perpetuity. See, whole book we cannot solve at this moment. But the kind of question expected from these two simplest topic in finance and mathematics, we'll definitely discuss. The present value, when you are paying in the beginning of each year, is given by P equal to R plus R by I. This you know. What is R here? R is the amount you are paying, that is 2500. So this will be rupees 2500 plus 2500 by I. I is how much? 0.03. So rupees 2500 plus, let me calculate this by using my calculator, but in exam you have to divide and do it. So 2500 by 0.03, this is given approximately rupees 83333. When you add these two, for number 1, it is becoming see here, this is 385, this is going to be rupees 85833. Okay. For the second problem, present value of perpetual income of rupees X at the end of each year, formula is changed. First one was, it will be given in the beginning, that annuity due, but second one you are going to pay at the end. Okay? So immediate annuity. So let us calculate the value here, that by using the formula for it, when you are paying at the end of the year, P equal to R by I. From these two formula also it is obvious that if you pay in the beginning, that amount will be more than the amount you pay at the end. Whatever. So you have to get the value of X. X is the amount being paid, and the assured sum going to be rupees 40,000 X, and this is being compounded semi-annually. So 6% divided by 2, we have to take 3% into consideration. 3% means 3 by 100. So 40,000 that divided by 100. This to get cancelled, it is becoming rupees 1200. Next time you decide on your own what to do. I mean, what formula you are going to apply over there. Just a minute. Question is, calculate the present value of a perpetuity on that, but perpetuity due or immediate, that will decide. Due means what? In the beginning. Immediate means at the end. What sum of money invested now would establish a scholarship of rupees 10,000 to be awarded at the starting of each year to a deserving student if money is worth 5% compounded annually. So this is the problem based on immediate annuity, immediate or annuity due. This were beginning in the this were paying in the beginning of the year, starting of each year. So this is due, annuity due. Formula will be P equal to R plus R by I. Or you can write P equal to R into 1 plus 1 by I. Okay? Now, which one given here? This would establish a scholarship of 10,000 at the starting of each year to a deserving student. So this part, as you are paying this amount in the beginning, so this part is going to be equal to R. 10,000, 1 plus 1 by compounded annually, so it will be 5 by 100. So this is nothing but obviously rupees, must write 10,000, 1 plus 20. So rupees 10,000 into 21, that is rupees 21, then 2,10,000. This is the present value of it. I hope you have understood. So annuity will not be a problem if you are able to detect whether it is annuity due, perpetuity due or perpetuity immediate. Due means in the beginning. Formula for that P equal to R plus R by I. And immediate means at the end. Formula for it is the last part of it. P equal to R by I. Keep the concept this manner. Okay? Now we are going to discuss the concept of sinking fund. Something is sinking, something you are paying to disburse a huge amount in future. Running a factory, machine is there, that machine will not be of any use after 10 years. So you need huge amount to invest to buy a new machine, because after 10 years amount will be very high. Then what to do? Then you start planning from today for the event going to happen after 10 years. You are creating a fund which will accumulate that much amount which you need after 10 years. So the fund you are creating, that is called sinking fund. Here, you have to pay some amount regularly so that you will be able to get a huge amount from the financial authority. Understood? Understanding sinking fund. This is a financial strategy that involves setting aside money for future expenses or obligations. What I told. Establishing a sinking fund requires regular deposits to accumulate enough funds for future needs. Future financial obligations that are explained. Primary purpose of sinking fund is to ensure that there are enough resources to meet future financial obligations. Suppose one family member of you has planned to buy a house which is going to be 2 crores after 5 years. But he doesn't have the money, he or she, whatever. So what they will do? They will start accumulating money, so that after 5 years it can discharge 2 crore from the financial authority. The whole amount of the flat from the financial authority. So this is the concept of sinking fund. Regular deposit you have to do to clear future financial obligations. What is the purpose and use of sinking fund in financial planning? The purpose you have understood. Sinking fund, what I told you, I hope you have understood. These are designated savings set aside for future financial obligations or large expenses that I told. They allow for predictable saving, enabling individuals to budget effectively for anticipated cost and major expenditure. Maybe buying house, maybe replacing an instrument in your factory or a machine in your factory, and it will ensure fund availability. If you create a sinking fund, definitely will get the amount back after the period which you have investing for. Understood? You have understood perpetuity, you have understood sinking fund. The question is, if there is a question of comparison of these two, perpetuity and sinking fund, how are you going to compare? Perpetuity you have understood. This you have to pay for indefinite period. Indefinite cash flows will be there. Whereas sinking fund, just for a few years, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Sinking fund, you are getting to discharge the financial obligation after that given period. Both financial instruments, this will refer as financial instrument, perpetuity and sinking fund. They serve different purposes. With perpetuities focusing on ongoing income and sinking fund on future expenses. Okay? Perpetuity, present value, that you have understood with example. It will focus on ongoing income. How much actually you are going to pay in today's level of thinking, that will calculate there in perpetuity. And sinking fund you are creating for future expenses. Please remember, this is very simple, not a difficult one at all. I hope you understand. So this I have already explained. Sinking fund example also I have told you, so I am not discussing anything more on it. Instead, let us solve few problems based on sinking fund. Just if the company establishes sinking fund to provide for the payment of rupees 1 lakh debts maturing in 4 years. Contributions to the fund are to be made at the end of each year. Find the amount of annual deposit if interest is 18% per annum. So this is a problem on sinking fund, not on perpetuity. Please keep this in your mind. The basic difference, that's why I have taken enough time to explain between perpetuity and sinking fund. Now the question is, what formula you are going to apply for sinking fund? The formula for sinking fund will be that given by A equal to R multiplied by this divided by I. This is the formula for sinking fund. That R stands for what? R stands for that periodic payment. I, rate of interest. N stands for number of financial periods, maybe number of years, maybe number of terms. If it is quarterly, then thrice in a year, you know. So how to account for this question number 1? Number 2 we'll do later. Number 1, payment of 1 lakh debt maturing in 4 years you have to do. So you are paying 1000 at the end of every year, and for 4 years where rate percentage is 18 per annum. So amount now you can calculate by putting those values. It is and I is what? 0.18. So 1 plus 18%, no? 0.18. This divided by 0.18. Is that clear? Hope you have understood. So you are going to find A or you are going to find R. The first mistake I have done there. You are not going to find A. Your problem is to find how much you will pay for getting that 1 lakh in 4 years. Okay? So this is going to be 1 lakh. And this is R. So R going to be what? To the power 4 minus 1. The numerator is okay. Denominator also, if you can get the value of 1.18. I just calculate by the use of calculator. In CBSE Board exam, it will be given over there. Don't worry. Okay, let me do it by calculator. 1.18 to the power 4. I have used scientific calculator, but you won't get in exam. So it is coming 1.94 minus 1. This is 1 lakh, sorry. So this is 18,000. Divided by 0.94. It's coming to be 19148.94. 9. Understood? So this is the amount you have to set aside at the end of every year. This is periodic payment, or you have to pay end of every year. Okay, just a minute, probably I did some mistake. 18,000. So this I wrote wrong, sorry. This is 19. I wrote one more extra 1 over there, 0.94. You write 19,148 is paying at the end of every year to accumulate that amount. That is the right way of answering. Hope you have understood. Just read the sum. Company establishes sinking fund to provide for the payment of rupees 1 lakh debts maturing in 4 years. Contributions to the fund are to be made at the end of each year. Find the amount of annual deposit if interest is 18% per annum. So this is a problem on sinking fund, not on perpetuity. Please keep this in your mind. The basic difference, that's why I have taken enough time to explain between perpetuity and sinking fund. Now the question is, what formula you are going to apply for sinking fund? The formula for sinking fund will be that given by A equal to R multiplied by this divided by I. This is the formula for sinking fund. That R stands for what? R stands for that periodic payment. I, rate of interest. N stands for number of financial periods. Maybe number of years, maybe number of terms. If it is quarterly, then thrice in a year, you know. So how to account for this question number 1? Number 2 we'll do later. Number 1, payment of 1 lakh debt maturing in 4 years you have to do. So you are paying 1000 at the end of every year, and for 4 years where rate percentage is 18 per annum. So amount now you can calculate by putting those values. It is and I is what? 0.18. So 1 plus 18%, no? 0.18. This divided by 0.18. Is that clear? Hope you have understood. So you are going to find A or you are going to find R. The first mistake I have done there. You are not going to find A. Your problem is to find how much you will pay for getting that 1 lakh in 4 years. Okay? So this is going to be 1 lakh. And this is R. So R going to be what? To the power 4 minus 1. The numerator is okay. Denominator also, if you can get the value of 1.18. I just calculate by the use of calculator. In CBSE Board exam, it will be given over there. Don't worry. Okay, let me do it by calculator. 1.18 to the power 4. I have used scientific calculator, but you won't get in exam. So it is coming 1.94 minus 1. This is 1 lakh, sorry. So this is 18,000 divided by 0.94. It's coming to be 19148.94. 9. Understood? So this is the amount you have to set aside at the end of every year. This is periodic payment, or you have to pay end of every year. Okay, just a minute. Probably I did some mistake. 18,000. So this I wrote wrong. Sorry. This is 19. I wrote one more extra 1 over there. 0.94. You write 19,148 is paying at the end of every year to accumulate that amount. That is the right way of answering. Hope you have understood. Now I am going to solve problems which are asked in last 2 years board paper, and then you'll be able to understand what kind of questions they can ask this year or next year, whatever. So let me start. First two MCQ questions, one came in 2023 and one came in 2024. Present value of a perpetuity of R payable at the end of each payment period when the money is worth I per period is given by what? This is directly formula based sum. There is no problem in understanding this, isn't it? So that present value of perpetuity when being paid at the end of year. So which option going to be correct? This one, P equal to R by I. Direct. Next one, what sum of money should be deposited at the end of every 6 months to accumulate 50,000 in 8 years? See, money is what? 6% compounded semi-annually. It is given. So CBSE, be hopeful that everything will be given this manner. Calculation become much easier. So as we have discussed the formula before, I am just writing the form here. R equal to A into I by 1 plus I to the power n minus 1. You are answering MCQ. So put the values directly here. 50,000 I, the rate of interest, that will be 6% divided by 2. 3%, which is nothing but 0.03. This divided by 1.03 to the power n. N is what? Just check. 8, no? So there will be 8 into 2. N is going to be 2 into 8. That is 16. This minus 1. Just substitute the value. Here it is going to be 503, 1500. Here is given 1.6047 minus 1. 0.6047. Now I need calculator. You have to do yourself. So by doing calculator, I am getting exactly this option, 2480.57. So option C is correct. Go for next one. This sum also came in 2023, this one 2024. I forgot to write. Company establishes sinking fund to provide the payment of 1 lakh debt maturing in 4 years. Contribution to the fund are to be made at the end of every year. Then find the amount of each annual deposit if the interest is 18% per annum. Before I complete the sum here, you can start doing it. Just do it. This is on sinking fund. Formula you have already done. I hope you will be able to do it. Do and check the answer. Payment of 1 lakh debt maturing in 4 years. So amount is, that is 1 lakh. N equal to 4 years. End of every year they is going to pay, and I equal to 0.18. Okay. So 1.18, what is its value that you need to know? 1.18 value. They are given, but I forgot to write it here. I have just copied the question from CBSE question paper. Okay, so I'll do it, I'll tell you the answer. Find the amount of each annual deposit. A equal to this formula only, 1 plus I to the power n minus 1, that divided by I. So R will be A into I, that divided by this minus 1. Okay. A you substitute 1 lakh, but I calculated before, I have given the answer here. This will be the answer. Answer I did not consult with anyone. Okay. So 0.18, and this will be 1.18 to the power 4 minus 1. 1.18 to the power 4 you calculate, substitute there, and then tell me the final answer. I have calculated, but I am not seeing the value of 1.18. Oh yes, I got 1.18 to the power 4 is 1.94. So 1.94 minus 1, that is 0.94. So R equal to 18,000, that divided by 1.94 minus 1, 0.94. Now divide that by 0.94. Yeah, I got, it is 19148 approx. But if I do the same calculation, not by taking 0.94, they have given this, then somehow you can get, if you check it with AI also, that answer comes to be 19157. One thing I'd like to say, whatever given in board paper, that information is used. Never use 1.18 multiplied 4 times itself, that result. Then your answer will be wrong. Maybe wrong, but marks will not be deducted. Believe me, rupees 10, 20, 30, this can differ in board paper. Okay? Now next one. In 10 years, machine costing 40,000 will have a salvage value of 4,000. New machine at that time expected to rupees 52,000. I have solved this kind of sum. In order to provide funds for the difference between replacement cost and the salvage cost, a sinking fund is set up into which equal payments are placed at the end of each year. Fund earns 7%. Then how much should each payment be? Again, finding the value of R. I am using the formula directly. A into I. A is what? I is what? 0.07, and this is 1.07, 10 years minus 1. In board paper it is given that 1.07 to the power 10, if you go through 2024 paper, you will find it, it is 1.96. So just multiply and do this. I am also doing it. This is coming by 1.05 to 0.96. It is coming rupees 3400 with the information they have provided. But this I found by log and then calculated, the result is coming R equal to 3470.38. board paper, this will be considered correct. This marks will not be deducted fully but 0.5 ml rules. So it is better if you use, this came in 2024 paper. What sum of money should be deposited at the end of every 6 months to accumulate rupees 50,000 in 8 years? If money is worth 6% per annum compounded semi-annually. And they have given the data here, 1.03 to the power 16 is this. Okay? So let us calculate. We are going to find the value of R. That is AI, I to the power A, 1 plus I to the power N minus 1. 50,000 into, this is 3%, no? 6% that divided by 2. 1.03 n equal to 16, just put it there, that minus 1. So calculate, I am also doing 50,000, 0.03, 1.03 they have given. This is 0.6047. We have done this kind of sum, just this is board paper we are solving. So that divided by 0.6047. It is becoming rupees 57. So this is the correct answer. See, exactly matching with the data they have provided. So you must use the data they are giving. Don't use your concept, or no need to use log once you see the data given over there. Then number 4, that came in 2024 paper. 6% per annum compounded quarterly. Find the present value of perpetuity. It is being paid at the end of each year. End of each year means immediate annuity. Formula for that? What is the formula for that? P equal to R by I. Present value you have to find. It's a 2-mark question. So rupees 600. This I you do carefully always. It is 6% per annum and compounded quarterly, 6 by 400. So this will be 100 into 400. 40,000. Hope all of you have understood the concept and the way you have to prepare for board examination. There is no different perpetuity in our syllabus. End of this session I am telling you. Students are still confusing. They are asking today also. Said deferred perpetuity problem is there. No, it is based on this simple formula only. Okay? Thank you for staying with me.